EA Interviews, Episode 30.
Inspiration, transformation, success stories, and the Imperfect Action Round. 7 days a week. Join Mario Ficini for today's Expert Authority Effect interview.
Expert Authority World, I'm excited to be here. I'm not going to say another great episode because in the past episodes I've said another great episode. What I really mean is another great VIP featured guest. Have you ever thought about advertising on Facebook? Using paid ads to get in front of more people, to get your message out there, to actually bring people through the door. Would you like to save time with all your efforts? Maybe do it once and then get it out to the maximum people it's possible to. Have you seen the power of Messenger? We're going to be discussing all of this, not just how to randomly post here and there and kind of like hope for the best, but we're going to show you how to actually use dollars to create multiple dollars and tens of dollars and hundreds and thousands of dollars. I'm going to bring up Ashley Boston, and she is going to be sharing with you all the insights you should be knowing for your business with Facebook advertising. I'm super excited to bring her up, but first, let's thank our sponsor. Congratulations, you got started with your cell phone, and I welcome you to the live streaming game. Now you're comfortable on camera and going live regularly, but I caution you, don't get stuck in startup mode. This is why I stepped up my game with Wirecast Pro and advise you do too. Get your 30-day free trial at eainterviews.com/Wirecast. All right, everyone, here she is, Miss Ashley Boston. Ash, how is it going?
Hey, Mario. Great. Thank you. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We are going to have a fun episode. I know we were having a fun time before this got started. We're going to just keep rolling on with that, aren't we?
We sure are.
What made you want to start your business? What's the inspiration for your company?
So I first started, went out on my own in 2013. I worked for a real estate company managing their social media portfolio and WordPress and website. And I really quickly enjoyed and fell in love with that area. I got to a certain point, I think, where I wasn't able to grow anymore with where I was at. And I started seeing that there was like a huge market opportunity where I was living at the time to educate and teach more businesses about social media at that stage as a whole, and being able to, I think the exciting thing was being able to reach more clients, not just, inside the town, but worldwide. And so I saw that opportunity there, and, I wanted more for myself. I wanted to be able to travel more. I wanted to meet incredible people, like yourself. And it just, has opened up so many doors. And I guess that's why I started. I wanted to be, just have more experiences, but also be not limited to how far I could grow.
Well, I'm glad you decided you wanted to do that because it was an absolute pleasure when we did meet. And since then, we were just talking about that. You have done so much, and I'm super excited and super proud of you. So congratulations again, Ash.
Thanks. Thank you.
So let's tell everyone who you help and how you help them.
Who I help. So basically, I work with entrepreneurs in the past, mainly a lot of mums who have become stay-at-home parents and have started off a business just basically as a hobby. And then as time has gone on, they've decided that they want to grow that and have wanted more for that. So I work with a lot of women and a lot of mums in particular, helping them get their message out there. And whether it's, a physical product or whether it's an online product, it doesn't really matter. But they're the people that I love working with the most and find that are most passionate about what they do.
Why do you find that they are the most passionate about what they do? I'm glad you identified the niche that you've obviously identified. And you're saying not only women, but moms. Tell me more about that. Why do you love that segment of the marketplace?
Because I guess with one person in particular that comes to mind who is a current client, she lives in the middle of nowhere, for example. She is at home 24/7 with her 4 children. She's not only teaching them in the classroom, but she's also running a business on the side. And it gives them their own sort of, I guess, freedom or their own way of feeling to exist for something more than just to be, you know, a stay-at-home mum. And it gives them something to, you know, like set goals for and envision and be really proud of that, I guess. And I love seeing, you know, when someone's so passionate about something because you can see it in them when they talk about it. And I love being able to work with, you know, people like that.
Well, it sounds like you've identified your niche and you're really helping them. I was going through some things and I know you have some great success stories for us. So I don't know if it's this lady you're thinking of right now or someone else, but why don't you share with us your biggest success story of who you've been able to help take them from where they were at, go through your system, and now they're in a much better place. Who would that look like for you?
Yeah, so I'll try to keep it short because this can be long, but it's also very
feel
close.
Free to go into it. I want to know all the details.
So this is very close to me, this project. About 3 years ago, Joy is her name, came to me, and she is a fitness trainer. She lives in the middle of nowhere. She's a mum of 4. And she was doing everything via email, delivering her products via email. But she was ready to take that next step, but didn't know how to, and wanted to reach more women, you know, not just in Australia, but eventually worldwide. And so she came to us November 2016 and literally only had 300 subscribers on her email list. We sat down for a week and completely nutted out what this online membership was going to look like. We hadn't even created any content for it yet, but we had to pretty quickly get some marketing going and generating some leads in preparation for the launch of January 2017. So basically we created a free 12-day Christmas countdown fit program, and we got some ads up. We generated leads. We generated just over 400 leads within the space of 2 weeks, I think it was, from top of mind. And we really gave them everything we could, you know, value-wise. And when that launch kicked off in January, we had, I think in total was about 110 subscribers sign up straight off the bat. The money that we invested, there was nothing up front. You know, we were covering ourselves just by scraping by just to get, you know, it open. And within that first month, we did about $50,000 in revenue. And, you know, things have changed quite a bit over the time, but I think it just goes to show, you know, no matter where you are at your business, if you've got an idea and you're willing to push through to it and you can stay focused on that goal, just how powerful, you know, having a marketing and strategy plan really is. And we're three years on, actually. We just turned 3 on the 14th of February. And, it's very close to my heart, I guess, because I've been there from the very beginning, and to watch that journey and how things have changed, you know, with Facebook advertising, I've noticed huge differences between where we were then and where we are now. And it's very exciting. So I'm very grateful to be part of that journey, and to continue on and see where we go in the next, 5 years.
I'm really excited for you and proud of you because I remember the turning point in your business, and this is exciting to hear because I picked up on that straight up on the stats. You said we were launching, you were prepping in December for a January launch. You don't need to be a rocket surgeon to realize that's not a year later. That's about 30 to 45 days later. You said 400 leads and about 110 to 120-ish, roughly 25%. you had the leads, but then the other ones, the 25% got started. And from there, you had, another conversion, demographic, whatever the word is, percentages. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because so many people are, they launch. Even when I launched the show, of course I expect 100,000 people because my goal is to inspire millions and millions. But you know what? I have a screenshot of the very first download, and then the first 10 and the first 100. And it's like, those are more special because when you get the momentum going, it's not hard to do 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000, 100,000 in a month. But when you get that inertia, that initial momentum and the inertia going like you're talking about, you also said another key. You delayed the gratification and you were scraping by. Well, whether it was 1 week, 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, obviously it was worth it. I know there's many people that would love to go very casually, as you stated, and then we did 50,000 for the month. And you're just talking about one person. And I know you have others, and that's just 1 month of 1 year, years ago. So I really like that story because it shows all the things that encompass the entrepreneurial spirit of, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I believe in it. I'm going to get started. I'm going to take action with it. And you, on the other side, you also have the success story of it, which is fantastic. So when you're looking for people, you had stated that you work with the women and the stay-at-home moms. What type of industries are you finding have the most success?
I don't think it matters what industry you're in. I think the thing is that people say success means everything different to everyone. But, what was it that what's gotten her this far? She never said no to anything. She just said, yes, let's do it. And it allows, being creative is really exciting for me. And that's what, gets my cogs turning and things like that. And I don't think it's anything specific industry as such. It comes down to that person and I think how, their goals and their visions and how hard they want to work for it. Because you can work with people and they get stuck. And it has a lot to do with mindset, I believe. And just finding the right people to work with. Not everyone is going to gel really well. And I have a lot of freedom with, working with some of these clients of being as creative as I want to be. I don't think it comes down to a particular niche. If you look at the fitness industry, it is huge. It's massive. And how many people are out there selling fitness programs? But it's about being unique and showing how you can differentiate yourself from everyone else.
Well, I'm glad you said that because I've had people even recently say, well, I know this is a saturated market and this is a saturated market. It's like they all are because they've all been around. But when you see so many people in it, first off, have the abundance mentality and realize even if you get 1% of the pie, if it's $1 billion pie, you're going to be doing okay. And when you do differentiate yourself, you're no longer in that 1%. You can take a larger chunk of the market. There's plenty to go around for everyone. But I see it as, even with a podcast. Oh, everyone's got a podcast. Yeah, but they don't have me. You can make it your own. And the fact that everyone is doing one, quote unquote, and not everyone is statistically, but that just means it's a good thing to do. If no one was doing it, I'd be leery to go, is this worth the time, energy, and money into it? So I want to dive, Ash, let's dive into the Facebook side of things because a lot of people have this notion of just, I'm going to put some stuff out there, I almost said a word. I'm just going to throw some mud against the wall and it's going to stick. And I tell people all the time, Facebook caps you at 5 or 6%. Please, if there's some new statistic, if it's less than that, I want to know. And I want Expert Authority World to know. But I know statistically, even if you have 10,000 people on your page, you're only going to be reaching 500 or 600 of the 10,000, which is a good amount to be able to post a message to, but that's 5 or 6%. Let's dive into the paid aspect of the advertising where you get to unlock more of that and have the results, like you're saying, within, correct me on the time frame, was it within 2 months? How long did it take you from the time you launched to get some traction going? 2 weeks to 2 months? Of the sales, but obviously it was with the paid ads that you're doing it. It wasn't just organic.
No, so it was about a month where we were running like generating leads and then following that up with a launch process that then had ads to back that up to make sure,
How long was your launch sequence?
It was 30 days.
Okay, same as what I do.
Yeah, 30 days.
So all in all, about maybe 30 days of prep, then 30 days of ads to get people for the launch, and then 30 days. So about 60 to 90 days overall, long end?
About, 60 days max. Yeah.
Max. How many people would like to be doing this? I love this. Because we're looking at it going, it was a long sequence, because I've taken people through a 2-week sequence for like a book launch. And I've also done 6-week, and it's like, this is a long one. But how many people would love to be like, it's, 30, 40, 50 grand, and, it took over a month, though.
I think it's also having, it's not also just relying on Facebook advertising. It's ensuring that you obviously have that backup of email automation and, communication and offering that high, like as much value as you can when you're doing those launches. Absolutely.
You need to be doing the value add. You need the ancillary stuff to create the synergy. But go into a little bit more detail about what your process is as far as someone listening to this right now going, how would I set one of these up? What do you walk them through? What should they expect?
So a lot of the time what I see when people have come to me is that they've had no strategy. So a lot of time, we're throwing thousands of dollars at Facebook and wanting to see a return on investment. And I've seen so many people throw away thousands and thousands of dollars. And there's no strategy behind just throwing money to Facebook. I mean, so much has changed over the past few years. And I mean, just in the last, 6 months really with Facebook, and when it comes to advertising. And so one of the key things I would say is put down pen to paper, just a strategy, and think about who your audience is. Think about who you're targeting and who do you want to reach. And just start by sending, those people, whether it's a blog post, getting them to engage on that, having a call to action. It can take up to like 6 points of contact for somebody to then eventually purchase something, or just to get them on their email list. And so it's about creating different touch points within that strategy when it comes to Facebook advertising. So whether you've got a video ad, whether you're running some traffic to your website that has a blog article and then having a call to action on that, and then following up, but also, making sure that fits in with your email automation as well, because that again is really important. So that is one key aspect that I would say to someone is really, I can't say how important it is to have a strategy and not just go and create a campaign straight off the bat. This morning I sat down to do some audience research, which took me a couple of hours and I haven't even finished yet. Like Googling where they might be, what tools and resources they might use, and really putting that data into Facebook and see what comes up. It's just so important to do that, first of all, before anything else.
So what I'm hearing is it's not a matter of saying you're just going to put some money at ads. It's really knowing what you're going to do with the ads and who you're targeting that makes it successful. As far as getting an ROI, not even the whole campaign, but if you're not doing the research, there's no point in even advertising because you're basically throwing mud against the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you're wasting really your money, your investment. And a lot of people want to see an ROI straight away, but it can take, depending on the business, it can take up to, 3 months before you start to see that. And cost per leads and things they're getting a lot more at the moment with the changes with Facebook newsfeed not having any space left really for advertising at the moment. So yeah, you really do need to sit down and think about what that end goal is and what it looks like.
I fully agree. I have a client I'm thinking of, and he reached out to me saying, hey, I want to do more with Facebook ads, not really sure what I'm doing, this and that. Shot me an email, and I asked him a few questions, and the response I gave him was, pause all your ads now. Because, he told me some numbers and different things, and basically he was just losing money by running them. I'm like, stop, let's talk tomorrow, this and that. And at the very least, you need to know what you're doing. You can't just turn them on and think it's a silver bullet. But you kept saying making sure having your email sequence in there. I want you to expand on the email. Are you finding email is the best, or maybe just maybe with Facebook Messenger there might be something that might be more effective than email now?
So one of the things that I do when it comes to email automations is once someone signs up to a lead, we are able to actually connect our email database to our Facebook audiences so that they're being updated automatically and we're not just advertising to those same people. So once we capture that person as a lead, they're going into that email automation sequence and are being removed from the ad campaign, which is very powerful. You don't want to be remarketing to the same people all the time. So that's how I utilize that. And probably in the last 12 months have introduced ManyChat, so messenger bots, into some of the businesses that I'm working with, and have seen incredible results, open rates of 90% or more compared to what we're seeing with email. Email systems over here are a little bit dodgy sometimes, and obviously go through to filter and spam all the time. Whereas, having Facebook Messenger and being able to communicate with our audience and sending them lots more value, it's, they've got their phone in the palm of their hand and that message is delivered straight through to them. And so we're seeing some really good results with that, seeing a lot more of, it's all on our sales pages, and we are seeing a lot more people asking questions via Facebook Messenger rather than sending us an email, which does make it a little bit easier on our support team sometimes. But yeah, it's truly incredible, and I think this year will be really exciting to see where that goes.
What are you finding as far as people signing up on the email versus Messenger? They're probably engaging with Messenger more, but have you ever split tested option A versus B? We haven't split tested them, so to say. We have done where we've actually signed up a program. So we last year did a program launch where we ran it through Facebook Messenger and also had them sign up to email campaigns. And actually, for this particular business, their conversions were a lot higher of those people that came through Facebook Messenger than those that came through email, because we had a nurture sequence through ManyChat and through Messenger, delivering podcasts and things like that. And so that was really interesting to see that aspect for them. That's really great to hear. So many people think, I'm going to get them on my email list. I'm going to get them over here. And while that's good, and I still recommend it, and as well as it sounds like you do too, there's always new technologies that you have to figure out if it's going to be the best thing for your business. But at the end of the day, numbers don't lie. Are you doing anything with texting still? So let's throw that in the mix, email versus Facebook Messenger versus texting, because what I want everyone in Expert Authority world to know is these are the, Ash was talking about it, the nurture sequence, the hopper system, if you will, the follow-up. So once someone is in your system, how are you staying in touch with them? Because you absolutely have to. Whether you're picking up the phone and calling them, which is kind of hard to do with 1,000 to 10,000 plus people constantly. That's why you use these different mediums, but systematically, email was great at one point, but then Messenger took over. Text has always been there, but you can't. I personally, if you're blowing my phone up 12 times a day with a text, I don't love it. If you do it with email, still don't love it. Messenger, I think it's more like the new texting, and same thing with Twitter. You can post on Facebook, a few times, but Twitter you can pretty much do every 30 to 60 minutes. Each one has their little nuances. What have you found about texting nowadays?
So particularly, some clients do it, but I don't have access to those results, obviously, and how that works for them. They typically do it prior to a webinar going live. For Joy, for example, we don't use it because most of her clientele are rural and remote and actually don't get mobile service. So there would be no point in doing that. But I don't typically, even for myself now, when I sign up to things, I have to be honest that I don't get a lot of text messages these days unless I am signing up to a webinar that's in the US to make sure I'm on time. But yeah, I don't see a whole lot of that happening as much as it did, say, maybe 3 years ago. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's also what I'm finding too, is text messaging is good. It's still good for restaurants, the webinars, to make sure you're signing up. But if you're using that as your main medium in place of email, you have to realize these are real people with real emotions and real feelings and real schedules. Most of it, any of this can be found intrusive. So you have to listen to what Ash is saying and get to know the people, see where they're at, know their schedule, know who they are, and go, hey, when does this make sense? One of the things I had to learn with the podcast here was there's people that wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, and one of the first things they do is they could be very much listening to the podcast episode. Well, if you're texting someone at 4 in the morning, they're probably not going to respond to it too well unless you're dealing with someone past the international date line and you're scheduling a meeting. So those are the things. It's not to say any one is better than the other or any of them are bad. And I think it's ludicrous when people say that email's dead, websites are dead, texting's dead, Facebook Messenger is dead. It's like, no, you don't know what you're doing with it. Just take all of it with a grain of salt and ultimately know your customer, know what they want, and add the value to them. And that's what she's talking about here. Just do it with Facebook ads. So I'm glad you touched upon that because I have ads running for the podcast and stuff right now, and I absolutely love them. But let's talk about your book. How has your book helped your business?
Well, it's a little while ago now. Yes, how to use the power of social media. Things have obviously changed a little bit since then. And it really helped leverage me in this space. It wasn't, I would say, an easy task. It was a lot of fun and I really enjoyed it. And I would love to go back and edit it. But I can't say that's happening anytime soon. But the book really did give me that leverage that I was looking for. I was living then in a smaller regional town, say a couple of years ago before moving to Sydney. And it was a lot of fun to do a book launch and bring all the businesses together. And, and I've had so much great feedback from it and what people have learnt. And there are still things in there that fit in with marketing and social media, but obviously the Facebook world has changed a little bit. But it's definitely, it's really helped me to position myself in this market and reach a larger audience as well. Every now and then you still see things coming in from Amazon and that, but yeah, it was one of the greatest things I could have done at that time to gain that leverage.
It's a lot of fun, isn't it? I know the feeling.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun, but it's a lot of hard work too.
Well, anything worth doing is, right?
That's right.
Let's talk about video for a second. I remember video. What have you done with that over the years? How's that helped your company?
Yeah, so video is still very powerful, and I think especially with Facebook and lives at the moment, they're moving in that direction, and I think video is still very, it's got a big presence, and is also competing with, YouTube, and so Facebook wants some of that space as well. So video is very powerful, and using it, especially inside of video ads, is also really worked well in spreading a message. The only thing that I would say about video is to remember who's watching, and it's important to make sure that you have closed captions on there these days. So much has changed, and a lot of people are scrolling through their phones and it's on mute, or they've got their video turned off so it doesn't automatically play. So they're the things I would consider, but I love jumping on doing lives. I think it's a great way to interact with your audience, and Facebook loves when you do lives. So if you can implement that more often through your strategy, then yeah, they're going to love you for it.
I've heard about this Facebook Live thing. I might consider doing a couple more of them. You got me thinking, however, about the captions, and I'm kind of like, I got enough stuff to do. I don't need to add these in here, but I do know it's a good thing to do because you're absolutely right. People are scrolling through. It could be on mute. They could be in a meeting, and they're more interested in you than the stupid meeting, which is a good thing. However, if you don't have the captions, they're not going to be able to read that. But I did kind of, you'll be able to watch this and go, it wasn't a snarky look for you. It was you going, make sure you're doing the captions too. I'm like, oh, cool, because I have nothing else going on producing the show. Great, we'll add a new column to the spreadsheet of how much time this is going to take us. Yeah. You can do it automatic, but you still need to go through and obviously listen because Facebook's not that smart in getting all your language right. But they're not
also,
Google. They don't have access to everything, right?
That's right. But I think shorter snippets, GIFs, things like that as well. Like everyone's got such a short attention span these days. So how can you capture their, interest quickly and get them to, take call to action? But I think video is still very prominent.
I will let you know what I find because I currently have some split tests running on 30-second snippets, 10-minute snippets, and the full episode for the podcast. And I was shocked. I was so excited to get the full HD video out there and everyone can watch it, this and that. And the first couple I tested, it looks like the quicker ones, people have a higher engagement because I thought about it and I go, they're probably not sitting there for 45 minutes watching it where they'll download it to go for a jog, again, through iTunes, which you should. But as far as watching the whole thing, it's just interesting to see that it's the same exact thing on all the different mediums, and there's little nuances that are like the huge breakthroughs. So I'm excited for you to share even more. We're going to go to the imperfect action round right after we thank our sponsor. Instead of trying to get your prospects' attention, why not be so captivating they can't look away? That's a quote from my book, Video Marketing for Business Owners, that I created as a reminder for both my clients and myself for success on camera, and that's why I use Wirecast Pro for my professional productions, and I advise you do as well. Get your 30-day free trial today at eainterviews.com/Wirecast and start filming your show professionally the way your brand and audience deserves. Once again, that's eainterviews.com/Wirecast. You having fun?
I'm having a good time. It's great. Love.
And we are back with the imperfect action round. Ashley, are you ready to take imperfect action?
Let's do it.
So the first question I have for you, 60-second answers. What's the fastest path to the cash?
Strategy, using your list and using content that already has social proof on it.
Ooh, expand on that. I love social proof, but real quick. Tell everyone what that's about.
So when you're posting things on your Facebook business page, go back through, find those posts that have already engagement, social proof, comments, take them and use them in your Facebook ads because Facebook is going to love you for it.
Do you ever do that little trick where you can put the ID number in the ad to get the exact post?
Absolutely.
Love it, love it, love it. So the second question I have for you would be all the people that are problematic. What is the biggest problem you see your prospects making, and how can they fix it?
Definitely strategy. Definitely not thinking about who their audience is and thinking that it's everyone, because it's definitely not. So narrowing that down and really doing your research. The other thing I find is a lot of businesses don't have a Facebook pixel on their website. And whether you're thinking about doing Facebook right now or not, it is a must, huge must, because you're collecting that data on your website to use when you are ready.
We didn't even touch upon that. Shame on me for not asking. That is a very good point. Let's expand on that. So would you recommend they have one pixel, or if they have a strategy funnel, a book funnel, a launch funnel, would you recommend maybe using the add to cart, view cart, registration, and the checkout pixels just by chance?
So you have event pixels, and depending on what you want to optimize for, without making this too complicated, depending what you're optimizing for, depending what sort of an ad you're looking to run is where they're going to come into play. If you have a Shopify store or online products, then you obviously want to be utilizing those add to carts as well. And if you're looking at, say, downloading a free PDF, then you want to be using the lead pixel on those thank you pages so that you can capture that data.
So use multiple pixels, not just the one, and use the one over none. Otherwise, you're also throwing mud against the wall, right?
Absolutely.
Real quick, I'm going to ask you the third one. Talk to me about retargeting. What have you found works best for on Facebook, retargeting on Facebook, as well as the other ad networks? Are you still using Perfect Audience?
No. To be honest, no. So retargeting or remarketing is, I think there is so much money left on the table, and it's a huge pot of gold. Anyone that is starting and wants a quick win with Facebook advertising, I always start here and also use their list. But remarketing, if you've got people leaving at the checkout point or they're coming to your site and then, everyone is so distracted by things and we just forget sometimes. We might be making a purchase and then it's like, oh, someone comes in, disrupts us. And so if you can have an ad that pops up to them, for a certain amount of time frame, because you don't want to be annoying them too much. But if you can just sort of remind them, hey, we've got these shoes in the checkout for you, they're waiting. I think you can really pick up on, a lot of quick wins and also sales that have just sort of been abandoned. If you've already got a Facebook pixel on your website and you want to remarket to them, if you've got a email list of over 100 subscribers, use that data. And, it's so powerful what you can do with remarketing.
What are you using to go off of Facebook, or do you not incorporate that?
What do you mean by off of Facebook?
What do you use for the additional ad networks outside of just Facebook's ecosystem?
At the moment, I'm not involved in any of that. So as in Google remarketing, those sorts of things, YouTube advertising, that is not my area of expertise. I stick to what I know, and have others that do that, because everyone has different policies, rules, and it's hard enough keeping up with one than it is having multiple. So, yeah.
Makes sense. That's fair.
Yeah.
That was honestly, for me, I just had a little snafu with Perfect Audience this week for the new show, and basically they don't like me, so I was wondering if there's a workaround. Basically, screw them, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Okay, so I have to ask you the third question. What is the third question? I want a rabbit trail down here. That's fine. All right, so the third and final question of the imperfect action round. How do you maximize customer lifetime? Nope. I'm going to start with client because I fixed that last night's episode. So, Ash, last question of the imperfect action round. How do you maximize client lifetime value?
This is a good question. And I think it has a lot to do with multiple things. One of the things that we have introduced, everything is online and we're losing that touch point of being very personal. So we make sure that we send things out in the mail. We ship things out regularly, whether it's a handwritten note or whether it's an actual package that we're sending out. I think that's really important, and people feel, like I get excited when I go to the mailbox and there's something in there for me. That I think is important. And also, looking at if you don't already have an online membership, but how can you keep serving your customers over and over again? People will buy from you time and time again if they love what you do and the products, and just offering so much value. And I think, like Facebook groups play a big part into that as well. Being able to, have access to ask questions and things like that. And yeah, it's just, I think just thinking outside of the box sometimes of how we can provide value. And it just might be those little things, just, sending a little note.
Very good. I love the answers. I just got more stuff in the mail today. I forgot about it. It was a surprise. And I remember another time when I got something in the mail and I was like, what's this? And it happened to be the cufflinks that you got me, which I absolutely love and always get compliments on. So thank you for those. Again, absolutely loved it. And yeah, direct mail is still very big, even here in the States. And doesn't matter where in the world you are, because so many people are digital and electronic, and this is all well and good. But when you can get in front and have that physical touch and go, hey, like Ash was talking about, she has her book, I have mine, you can give it to someone, business cards, gifts, anything. Who doesn't like a free gift?
That's right.
I mean, more than anything, regardless of what it is, it's like, hey, I'm thinking of you, and I took the time not only to get this, but to package it, to mail it. You have to put some thought in it. It's not an email where you're just sending it off like that. So thank you for sharing your insight and your honesty with it. So the last question I have for you is about books. We have our own, but I also like reading others. What's the best book you'd recommend to Expert Authority World?
Oh, that's a big question. Considering I always get hounded because the only books that I will read is to do with learning and growing and business-wise. My partner's like, you should read something that's more imaginative. But honestly, that is a tough question. Look, at the moment, I am reading. I don't know.
You can suggest your book. I ain't going to be mad at you. I'm just asking.
Sorry. Oh gosh, it's so hard.
If only there was a way you would have had the answers to the questions before the interview.
Look, Gabby Bernstein is what I'm reading at the moment. It's all to do with Universal.
I like her.
Yes, I really enjoy that. But yeah, there's just so many really good books that I've learned so many things from. But I love marketing books. Ryan Dice's digital marketing. Anything like that. But yeah, it's something that I am trying to practice to do more and read more of, because, yeah, I do love reading when I get to it, but it's just one of those things.
If you want a good one, I'll recommend one for you. It's called Rubies in the Orchard.
Rubies?
Have you ever heard of Palm Wonderful?
No, I have not.
Or Wonderful Pistachios? It's from the CEO who started those companies, and I'm not going to spoil it, but her ingenuity of what she did to create this was just astonishing to me. It's called Rubies in the Orchard.
Okay, I'll look it up.
And it's one of my favorites, and it was at a time when I was, just trying to figure out, is this what I want to do? Is this what I want to do? I think I had over 100 clients at the time, and I was like, where's my big break or whatever that is for you? And I was just like, how did all these other companies just create all, Richard Branson, how the heck do you not just have a company, but have multiple and they're all successful? Like, what is it? So I was reading all these books and I was like, what's this one? And I kind of read it, and it stuck out. It's a really interesting story. I don't want to give it away, but maybe we should do an episode just on that. It's called Rubies in the Orchard, and it's from the CEO of Palm Wonderful and Wonderful Pistachios.
I'll look it up and I'll go and find it. Actually, Big Magic. That was a great book. Big Magic.
Okay.
Yep, good book for marketing, creativeness, everything. I enjoyed that. It was really good.
Very good. So why don't you tell everyone where they can find you?
So you can find me at unleashedmultimedia.com.au. And if you're looking for just small courses, whether you're starting out, that would be a great place to start.
Well, I appreciate you for sharing that with us, and it's always good to see you. You absolutely rocked it.
Thank you. Great to be part. Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Well, it was great seeing you, Ash. Look forward to talking with you some more, and the pleasure was mine.
You're already successful. You've worked hard to get where you are. We both know it wasn't overnight and hasn't always been easy. No doubt you're the expert on your subject matter. But do your prospects in your marketplace think of you first as their go-to trusted advisor all the time? ExpertAuthorityChecklist.com is 100% free and reveals the 21 steps to determine if your prospects view you as the expert and authority of your marketplace, or if it's just all in your mind. Important required steps like, do you have a process in place for prospects to self-identify if they qualify for your time and expertise or not? Does your current offer have the 7 components of an irresistible offer required to make it a no-brainer for your prospects? Do you have a real-life paperback book showcasing you as the subject matter expert you can actually hand someone? Get your free checklist now at ExpertAuthorityChecklist.com. Once again, Expert Authority Checklist, to make sure you have the 21 steps covered. It better not be more, but don't leave those 1 or 2 things you may have missing go any longer. Visit ExpertAuthorityChecklist.com and make sure you're being seen as the expert and authority today. Once again, that's ExpertAuthorityChecklist.com. Get your copy now.
Congratulations, you got started with your cell phone, and I welcome you to the live streaming game. Now you're comfortable on camera and going live regularly, but I caution you, don't get stuck in startup mode. This is why I stepped up my game with Wirecast Pro and advise you do too. Get your 30-day free trial at eainterviews.com/Wirecast. Thanks for listening to the episode. I hope you got a lot of value out of it. Let's continue the conversation over in the community, expertauthorityworld.com. We can have discussions, talk about the episodes, and I'd love to get your thoughts on it. Once again, expertauthorityworld.com.